Hello, gorgeous, and a warm welcome to Accepting. I'm Aline, your host. I'm a coach, a channel, a mentor, and an empath. And I love to see highly sensitive people and empaths in all walks of life flourish. In this episode, following on from the previous, where I spoke to you from the point of view of a 48-year-old perimenopausal empathetic witch, I am going to be taking you through a journey that will be at the end. And I would really like to emphasize it's not just for it's not just for perimenopausal women. There will be certain elements in there that will be very much guided in that direction. There will also be elements for absolutely everybody. So please do not switch off if you think it's just for perimenopausal women. This episode, we're going to be talking about the eclipse season. So really, really stay tuned, because there's going to be some great processes coming in. There's going to be some great insights and how you can navigate the eclipse season. Okay, so get yourself cozy, grab yourself a cup of tea, and let's dive in. Welcome to Accepting, where I guide you to accept all aspects of your beautiful self, embrace your truth, and live your life that way. So in the previous episode, we really dove into how it feels to be perimenopausal. And when I spoke to you, I was in the middle of one of my cycles. And it really felt important to talk about that. And it really felt important to be authentic about what was going on. Now, today, what we're going to cover is, in the previous episode, I spoke about Venus going into retrograde, and Venus is very much in retrograde at the moment. And what this means, especially in the eclipse season, is we're really being invited to completely nurture ourselves. Venus is all about inner beauty, and also wealth. So what happens with Venus when she goes retrograde is we're really invited to really see, am I really, really looking after myself? When Mars was retrograde in Cancer, it was a great opportunity to see how we were showing up as ourselves. And if we weren't showing up and action taking in the most authentic way, we were going inside to really feel into what that meant. And then now we're in that beautiful action taking as Mars is direct again. It is not about jumping into things, it's taking measured decisions. And with Venus in retrograde at the same time, this really allows us that time and space and beauty to self-heal and nurture ourselves as we look into beauty. In a beauty, we look into how we care for ourselves, and we look up how we show up in the world in terms of wealth. So first of all, the first eclipse is coming up just under a week from when we're recording this. And I say week as Cleo's always here. And what tends to happen for us in eclipse season is it's a real time of transformation. It's a real time of really feeling into that, what really, really doesn't work for me, because it's that light and shade element. And at one moment, it's all shade. We've got the full moon eclipse coming up. So it's complete lunar eclipse. Now, the moon is all about emotions. So when we have a full moon eclipse, it's very likely there's going to be shadows coming up. There's going to be deep, deep emotions coming up. And even in the run up to it as well, not just on the day of. So this is why it's so important to look after ourselves. Yesterday, I had the most deep healing that I've had in a very, very, very long time. And I will talk about that to you a little bit later. Cleo's going to jump up. Come on then. Come on. Okay, so for those of you who can see, this is Cleo, my gorgeous baby. For those of you who are wondering what on earth is going on, I now have my beautiful white cat on my lap. Right, so, and she's very moon. My white cat. So what happens when we have a lunar eclipse? Luna and the moon, she is very much about emotion. She is very much divine feminine. And when we combine this with Venus in retrograde, it is really, really inviting us to look at where we don't show up for ourselves properly. It's really inviting us to look at where we don't nurture ourselves properly. It's really inviting us to look at where we don't actually give ourselves the space, the time, and the care that we need. And if you do, fabulous. If you already do this, wonderful. What's likely going to happen is, as we're entering and we're in this eclipse season, is there could be situations that you felt you had dealt with that are coming up again. Now, it's really important that we don't go into, oh no, I thought I dealt with this and now this is coming up again. And we look at it with gratitude and we say, okay, well, thank you for showing me this again. And what else needs to be dealt with this situation? Because many times we can be given a situation and the universe will only give us what we can handle. So it might be that we've peeled off those layers of a situation and we've moved forward from that moment. And now we're in such a good place for those final little remnants to come back in and go, okay, so this was your shadow at this moment. This was a situation that was derogatory. This is what happened here with the relationship. This is what happened here with a work situation. This is what happened here. So there might be some memories coming up of what happened previously. And it's very important that we don't go spiraling down into those. So what I would really, really invite you to do, my gorgeous, if this is coming up in any way, shape or form, if it's coming up with, you might be having dreams, you might be just having daydreaming flashbacks, you might be remembering people from your past that betrayed you, you might be remembering, and if you're not, wonderful, I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just giving you what is a possibility. And of course, I'm speaking completely broadly here. The messages and the channeling that I receive is as a collective of highly sensitive people, as a collective of beautiful empaths. So when I'm working with you one-on-one, it's completely different. It's very much honed in. So when I say this may happen, it doesn't mean it's absolutely going to happen. It's preparing you. So please bear that in mind. Don't go into the, oh my God, that's going to happen now. Okay, so it felt really important to say that. So as Cleo's settling down, right, marvellous. Yeah. Okay, can we carry on now? Thanks. So what can happen? We've got the full moon coming up. The full moon already is a time of heightened emotions. With the eclipse, that's going into shade and it's a full eclipse. So we've got very much the dark moon. And for those of you who can't see, Cleo just put her paw on my heart again. She likes to do that just to bring me back. And yes, it's very much about the heart. So it's really, really looking after our hearts. So it's looking after ourselves emotionally, mentally, and physically, and really, really focusing that our hearts are okay. Because when certain memories come back up, what we want to make sure we're doing, and I've spoken about this in previous episodes that you can go back and listen to, we are reviewing, we're not reliving. And that is so important as empaths, because it is so easy, as we feel so much, to go back into the reviewing and to feel all the emotions of the situation. So if anything is coming up for you, my gorgeous, and it's feeling overwhelming as the memories are coming up, I'd really invite you to either do the stop process, to go out in nature, to do something just to take you away. And then when you get yourself into a beautiful, grounded place, then start feeling into it. Because what I would invite you to do, and this is what I did yesterday, what I would invite you to do is actually feel into what's coming up. Because the more we know this, the more we push down, 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 the bigger the burst out is going to be. Many of us, throughout a lot of our years, pushed so much down because that's just how it was. It wasn't accepted when we were children of the gifts that we had. So we pushed everything down. And as empaths, we know that for us to feel okay, everybody around us has to feel okay. So we can put on this kind of, I'm fine, I'm happy. And then everybody else is okay around us. If we keep doing this, and this, all that can happen is that's going to burst up at some point. And we know this. I've spoken about this in previous episodes. If you wish to go back into those as well, please do. Stay tuned to this one, though, because this is the eclipse, and this is hugely important for us with all the changes going on in the moment, with all that's going on in the world. And there's a lot going on. I'm not going to get into that energy. There's a lot going on. It's time when we really, really level up. And that is massively looking after ourselves, because before we can really step into who we truly are, and we can join as a community, and we can start as a collective being in light, being in love, putting universal healing out there. It's really important that we work on ourselves first. Okay, so we're given this amazing opportunity coming up. And sometimes it might not feel like an amazing opportunity, because as empaths, we feel. Little aside, yesterday, I could barely move. I had the most brilliant idea that I was going to get one of those dance app things. And I jumped around for however long it was. And then the next day I was like, no, I don't feel great. And then what started happening was I started to get really, really emotional, because it reminded me of previous situations. It reminded me it's coming up actually on the 18th of March, when I had my accident 8 years ago that turned my life on a head for the better. That was my blessing in disguise. So that coming up for me, I was really invited to feel into those emotions. And the fact that I actually felt really, really tired, because when we're in eclipse season, when there's so much going on and our mind, body, and soul are all adjusting to lift higher, then oftentimes we can feel tired. We can feel extra sensitive. It's about being really, really gentle with ourselves. And I had decided I was going to have, and I'm still on this, I was going to have just a few days away from the phone, away from WhatsApp, away from notifications. Because when we have that constantly there, as empaths, it can be so easy just to go, I'll just make sure, have I got any messages? Is everybody okay? And we're taking that focus away from ourselves. So what I would invite you to do, and if this resonates with you, at some point once a month, say to people, I'm not going to be available for a few days. I'm not going to be available. If it's an emergency, you can get in touch with me on email, for example. So people know there's a way that they can get in touch with you. And each evening, if you feel, you can just do a quick check. Has anybody been in touch? No, fine, okay. And then that way you haven't got that kind of twitching of any messages going off. I don't have my notifications on anyway. I just, if my phone's there, I know that I can look at it and I can see if anybody's messaged. So there's a reason this is coming up to talk about. So whoever's listening to this, this is for you. Whoever's seeing this, this is for you. My gorgeous, a few days every month, don't have your phone on. As scary as it sounds, you'll feel so much better. Okay? So with the eclipse, with the full moon, with Venus in retrograde, it's really inviting us to really, really look after ourselves. The world is changing. We're going much more towards the divine feminine. And especially with Venus in retrograde as well, that's hugely inviting us to, to really embrace ourselves in the feminine. And as I'm recording this, is International Women's Day. Now, I'm very much the belief of we need both. We need masculine and feminine to have a balance. So for me, International Women's Day is all about saying thank you to the divine feminine. And it's not about ignoring men. It's just about embracing women and sisterhood, absolutely, whilst not forgetting men. I just felt it was important to say that. So as Cleo's climbing all over me, So when we're in that eclipse energy, as I mentioned before, there may be things coming up for you. So it's really, really important that you notice that. It's really, really important that you up that self-care. It's really important you have a daily practice. It's really important that you ground yourself before going into the day. It's really important that you put yourself first, my gorgeous. Okay? So there are various episodes where I've spoken about daily practice. I've spoken about inner work. There's a beautiful healing journey you can do where I take you through and you feel into your inner work. There are many healing journeys throughout this series that you can listen to. The one that I'm going to take you through in a few moments is going to be very specifically designed to do with the eclipses and the nurturing. Okay? So once we have that groundedness, once we're really feeling back into ourselves, once we're in the present, if anything that's been coming up needs our attention, then we can go in and we can review the situation. We don't relive it. It's very difficult to review a situation without reliving it if we're not grounded, if we're not centered, if we're not in a beautiful, cleansed space before we go into it. So I mentioned yesterday I had the biggest healing that I had in a very, very long time, and it felt ancestral. And many of us are here to break those ancestral patterns. And many of us are here to stop the victimhood, to stand in our power and move on and move on with power. Because when we're in any kind of victimhood, and this is no judgment at all, because I've been there, done the t-shirt, and I have to really work on myself with this. When we go into victimhood, that is when we can start with the downward spiraling. And when we go into victimhood, that is when we can start inviting other experiences that show us that we're a victim, that show us we're right, if you like. So it's really important before you go into any reviewing of any past relationships, of anything that's coming up, there was a traumatic experience that is coming up for you to review, not relive. You're centered, you're grounded, you're calm, you're in your parasympathetic state, and you're looking at it as an onlooker. You're looking at it from a bird's eye view perspective. So you're looking at it as an outsider, if you like. Okay? And there is actually a very beautiful process that I took us through in a previous episode, which is reviewing. If you want to look at that one, I'll put the link underneath this so you can go straight into that if need be. Okay, so really important. The eclipse starts. We're in eclipse season now, and the first one starts this coming Saturday. This will be going out on Wednesday, a few days from there, and I really hope this is going to help you. So journal, write it down, speak into your phone, and reach out. If you're in a place and you're feeling more and more and more overwhelmed and you can't get yourself out of it, for whatever reason that is, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. Reach out to somebody and let them know. Because by taking that action, you are already shifting the energy because you've moved forward. If you're staying in that trembling victimhood of numbness, because I know we can get numb, and you're freezing, then that's going to invite more and more and more sympathetic energy. That's going to invite more and more. Your nervous system is going to be all over the place, my gorgeous. So the first thing I would say is if anything is coming up, reach out. If it's got to that point and you're feeling there is nobody I can speak to, contact me. And I mean it, okay? Contact me. I'm going to be available when this goes out, all right? Contact me, please. Do not hide. Please get in touch with me. If you're feeling there's nobody who understands, send me a message. And just by you doing that, I might not get back to you straight away. I will get back to you, and I will be looking every day just to make sure everybody's okay. Please do that, all right? And know that somebody has your back. Your higher self has your back. Your spiritual team has your back. And as tough as it is sometimes, we came here for a human experience. And the emotions that we feel, we don't necessarily have those in other worlds. We have them very, very, very deeply here. And that is what happened to me yesterday. I had to go really deep, guttural, sobbing, all out deep. And I'd had a candle going as well, that before I went away about a week ago or so, I thought, oh, what would be really good just to have it on for a couple of days before I go, because I was going on an extended artist date for the whole day, where I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I wasn't back until 11 o'clock at night. So I wanted all of my tools around me. That candle finished yesterday. The candle finished when I had the last guttural remnants, ancestral, really deep shadow work out. And I know I can go into that and I'm supported and protected. I know I can go really, really deep into that. I know I can have very, very derogatory, dark, if you like, thoughts, and I know I'm going to be okay at the end of it. I'm not saying go in and do that. Please don't do that. Reach out to me. Do what is in your capacity. And this is why it's so important that you are grounded, you are centered, you're in a place of gratitude for this coming up. Okay? So when the eclipse is going to arrive, we're already in that centered, grounded space where we're ready for whatever's going to come. Because what can also happen is the lead up to the eclipse, things can start coming up. As the eclipse happens, the days afterwards, things that we haven't necessarily dealt with, yes, they're coming up. And if there's a change that is for our greater good, that's going to happen. And it doesn't have to be monumental. It could be absolutely tiny. And again, as I said, I'm speaking to the collective. It will, if this feels like I'm just speaking to you, wonderful. And if this is absolutely resonating with you, wonderful. If you're listening to this, you're like, well, no, I'm absolutely fine, thanks. Brilliant. Stay on that. Don't dive into any of the lower energy. All of this I say with love. I'm just saying this is a possibility that could happen. And what I'm saying is what happened to me yesterday may be coming up for some of you as well, because it's really getting us ready. It's a purification. It's a cleanse of our systems so we can really, really start rising as we come together as a collective and we rise in beautiful vibrations. All right? So it's really important. I'm going to share this with you as well, because it's really important that what we're surrounding ourselves with energetically is at our vibration. So if you're watching any films or any shows, make sure there's some comedy in there. If you're watching any films, make sure they're inspirational. Make sure you're not sat there going, well, I'm not really enjoying this, or I'll watch it to the end. If that happens, stop watching it immediately, please, because that's not serving you. It's not serving you. Watch something that you just feel really happy being involved in and watching. Or don't watch anything at all, whatever works for you. One of my incredible mentors, Crystal C. Perry, said, make sure you watch something every day that makes you laugh. And however that might look, you might just go to a comedy store. It doesn't have to be on TV. So it's really important, because what happened to me yesterday, and I know that I had to go through this because it was helping me to get to the point of these very, very deep feelings. What happened was I watched a couple of films, and they weren't hugely high vibrational. They were very, very emotive films. And one of them, there was an end scene that I was in convulsions. And then I found out afterwards that the end scene, the person who was in that end scene, they'd actually had some very, very bad news. on the day of the shooting. And they were in that scene with that emotion, and that was what I felt. So what then happened was I took quite a lot of that emotion, and it was with me, and I was like, why? What is going on with this? And it was to get me to the point to dig really, really deeply and get to the point. So it's really interesting that sometimes if we're watching something, and yeah, absolutely, there's wonderful actors out there. I'm not saying that. Many times we can go, it's just a film, it's just a show, and we can detach ourselves from it. If there is pure, raw emotion, which there was in this instance, and I found out afterwards, and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, then that is when we can take things on. So if you are not in the eclipse season, do not do this in the eclipse season. If you are going to watch something which has a very strong emotive message, and not necessarily in a positive way, and you feel it's important for you to watch it, please don't do that in the eclipse season. If you are going to watch something because life happens, if it's a documentary, anything like that, and it's very, very real, then I would really invite you to make sure you're going in with a detached as much as possible, so you're protected, your energy is protected before you're watching it. Because it is so easy. It is so easy as empaths to take that on. We've been doing it all our lives. So why wouldn't we get it from a screen? Why wouldn't we get it from somebody's very, very sad, traumatic story? Why wouldn't we take that on? It's natural for us. So it's just identifying and being really, really honest of, well, yeah, actually, I need to be protected as I'm watching this. And for some reason, that came up for me to talk about. So whoever needs to hear that, please take that on board. There's some specific things coming in today. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little recap because we've kind of butterflied. So eclipse season. We've got Venus in retrograde. We've got a full moon eclipse coming up. Look after your emotional health. We've got the full moon coming up, which is all about emotions. So the full moon, when it happens, it's really beautiful that we dive into those 3 days of celebration. And I've got a gorgeous episode all about the full moon and how to work with that. So if you wish to listen to that before we come to the full moon, do, because that's gorgeous. So you're in that energy of gratitude. Beautiful, beautiful energy. What then happens is after those 3 days of gratitude, that is when it's time to start letting things, places, people, things out of our life go as the moon starts waning. So as she gets smaller. And that is when, my lovely, that is when things can start happening. That's when things, if we have ignored and ignored and ignored, and there's a little niggle going, not sure about that, not sure about that, the universe will say, okay, if you're not going to do it, I will. And that's happened to me a couple of times, hence my accident 8 years ago. So it's coming up to 9 years, actually. It's 9 years on the 18th of March. So that is what I would really focus on. And I know that's only 2 things that we've delved into. We've delved into quite deeply. So process-wise, I'm going to take you through a journey now. Process-wise, if you can, go back to some of the previous episodes on grounding. If you can, go back to some of the previous episodes on connecting with the elements. Start looking at those and maybe just choose a random episode, and whatever it's supposed to be, that's right for you. In the year of the wood snake that we're in as well, it's all very much about measured decisions. We're not jumping into things. So with the eclipse season as well, it's not the time to start jumping into things, because also, and this is a beautiful one, Mercury is going to be going into retrograde roundabouts, if not exactly the day, actually, round about the time of the full moon eclipse. So we're in this kind of shadow leading up to Mercury in retrograde as well. And this also invites us to go inside with communication. This also invites us, if there's any projects, to start feeling into what are they. So it's not all doom and gloom. We've got the retrogrades going on. I did an episode on the retrogrades last week. So we've got Venus in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, and the eclipse season. So stay centered, Stay grounded, stay grateful, stay as calm as you can. Remember, hand on your heart, I am safe. Do it now. Deep breath in, hand on heart, I am safe. And breathe that out. I am safe. Breathe in, I am safe. Hold it for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, I am safe. And what you're doing is taking that in and then you're spreading it around, the energy around you as well. All right, my gorgeous. So what I'm going to do next is prepare for the journey. So I'm going to give 2 episodes this eclipse season. This one is navigating, and then we're going to have a little break, and then you're going to have the journey. All right. So if you're watching this on a train, on any kind of transport, stop watching. Please don't go through the journey whilst you're on any public transport. If you're walking around for obvious reasons, don't go on the journey. If you're in a car, don't go on the journey. Just find yourself a really beautiful space later, and then we'll go on the journey. All right? Okay, brilliant. What you can also do as well, my gorgeous, is I'm on day 2 of it. I started it again yesterday, is my 22-day pathwork to self-love is out now. Embrace yourself. And it's a really, really beautiful time to do this, especially starting on Friday with that full moon eclipse energy. I would invite you, if you're feeling drawn, to start that this Friday. And then each day you have a different affirmation to work with. You have your daily practice, you're looking after yourself, and you're balancing the masculine and the feminine energy, and you get lifetime access to this as well. So if you're feeling called, then I'll pop the link down, click on that link, and you can enroll straight away, and you've got it for life. And also this month there's 15% off. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling called, you also get an extra 15% to begin the experience. All right. So thank you so much for listening. I'm going to record the journey separately. That will come as a bonus this week. Reach out to me, like I said, if you're feeling an absolute overwhelm, I love the faith. If you're feeling an absolute overwhelm and you don't feel there's anybody out there, please get in touch with me. Also, if you're feeling an absolute overwhelm and it's getting to a situation, know there are helplines. You can speak to somebody immediately. There are many, 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 many helplines for you to talk to. And I don't know why this is coming up. It's coming up. One of the films that I watched was a very, very sad situation that I knew was going to come up as I watched it. And as I said, what I didn't know was the actor in the end scene had some awful news that day, and they were coming from a place of the emotion of that. So keep yourself protected and guarded, my lovely. The way to do that, there's other episodes that I show you this. I'm being told to share now though. So the way to do this is there's 2 beautiful ways. There's loads of different ways. Before you're going into any kind of environment or you're watching a film, put energy, put a beautiful color around you. I do a big golden pyramid and put mirrors around it, and have the intention that only love can enter and anything else is just reflected back. Okay, that's one way. Another way is, so you have choose your colors. So you can have so gold around you first, like a big egg shape going around you, going all around all your aura. So big egg shape, big gold around you, and then white, and then pink. And then the only things that can penetrate that are love, compassion, respect, and love with good intentions. That's all that can penetrate that and get anywhere near your heart space. All right. That's a brilliant one to do. So they're 2 that I really, really recommend. And you can also ground with the elements as well. Put soil in your hands, hug a tree, get outside, have the wind flowing through your hair, especially today. I don't know if you can hear all the winds howling earlier. So whatever works for you, do that. We're not all the same. Just do what works for you. Please do something though. And yes, we're human beings. We're not human doings. I'm talking about action taking for your protection. So please do take protection of yourself. All right. So sending you so much love, my gorgeous. Next episode is going to be the journey that I'm going to take you on. And then next week, we have the most beautiful woman. I'm part of the Podcastathon, which is a gorgeous incentive where over 1,000 podcasts are going up at the same time over the week, which are all charity based. And I'm going to be speaking to the most amazing lady, Jackie Palmer of Costa Duluth Cats and Street Cats. There's been different names of Street Cats. And she is the most amazing, inspiring woman. All right. So for now, my gorgeous, here's to your self-acceptance. Here is to your self-empowerment. Have an amazing time with that eclipse. Really feeling into your power. Really feeling what works for you. Really feeling, who am I? Who am I really? Okay? So much love. And if you would like to continue into the episode with the journey, that's where we're going now. All right. So much love. Oh. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Accepting. Please do stay tuned for future episodes and also subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If there's anything at all that you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please get in touch and let me know. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Acceptance Coach and on TikTok at Solution Union 99. And if you'd like to have any coaching at all, or you would like to discuss this, do book an expansion call. For now, I'm your host, Aline, and to your self-acceptance, gorgeous, with so much love.